Hi folks, Richard here from Irish Pens. We were asked by Andrew to make a short video to go along with two very special pens that he's ordered for a friend of his over in Canada. He wanted two fountain pens, and he wanted them, one made out of Irish whiskey oak and the other made out of Irish bog oak. So just briefly to show you the Irish whiskey oak, that's a stave from a whiskey barrel, and so the cap of the whiskey barrel, the top of the whiskey barrel would be held in place, and then you have the inside of the whiskey barrel itself, which is all that burnt section. Now, everything in this room and in my workshop, unfortunately, gets covered in dust, but that's just the way it is, including me. So that's what the whiskey barrel stave looks like when we've taken it from the barrel. Here's another one to show you again. And you can see here the lovely colours that actually form in the whiskey, in the wood, and that's basically the whiskey soaking into the wood, and from that interaction with the wood is where the tannins and the flavours and the colours and everything come as the whiskey is distilled within it. We even have a tiny bit of an old dead spider there. There you go. We don't charge any extra for that. And then again, as you can see, on the inside of the wood, where it's charred, that's where the actual barrel is burned, and that helps the the wood to release its flavours and colours into the whiskey. So we take that piece of whiskey barrel, we cut it down, we have to put these tubes inside the, we have to drill holes inside the whiskey barrel to put these tubes inside, and the idea is that the tubes then, it's on those tubes that everything hangs, so all the bits that we put in there to make the pen work, they hang off the tubes that we drill. The other wood that we're going to use here is Irish whiskey. Is Irish bog oak, and the Irish bog oak. This is some bog oak that came out of a small cottage that was demolished back in the 1950s, just in the next townland to us here, in the townland called Corduff in Cavan. And this bog oak probably was a lintel that went across the main entrance into the house. There's obviously only one entrance into the house in those days, but the lintel went across the top, and that was normally made of bog oak because there was lots of it about. It's very, very strong, and so that's what they used it. And so that cottage was probably about 1500 years old before when it was actually demolished. So the bog oak itself was definitely out of the ground for more than, sorry, I said 1500, of course it's 150 years. So the bog oak was out of the ground for at least 150 into the 1950s, and of course we're now in 2022. So it's quite an old bog oak, but more importantly for me is it's very, very local. It just came out of a town, as I say, the townland down the road from us. I'll probably use this piece here because it's darker, and that's probably the piece we use again. Also, that'll have to be drilled to put the tubes in. So the bog oak we're making a Celtic fountain pen from, and the whiskey oak we're making what we call our woodland fountain pen from. So I'll cut the wood up and I'll show you what we're doing. So now that timber we've selected, we're going to just cut it to make our pen blanks. This is our bandsaw. It's quite small. We want it small because we want a very narrow blade. We don't want a big thick blade. So when we cut our timber, we don't want to we don't want to lose too much of the timber, because we want the grain to run quite neatly. Now, I'm not going to cut this holding a camera. That's one way to lose your finger, so I'm not doing that. But what we do basically is we run the wood along here, cut it, and here's the one that we're making, which is a Celtic pen in Irish yew. And you can see that when we've cut the pen in two halves for drilling, you can see when we bring them back together again, we make sure that the actual the wood grain runs through the pen. So it's very important for us that we cut in the right way, mark it, and keep the pen then in that orientation right through the process, so that when the pen is finished, the wood grain runs through. So we're going to cut the whiskey oak, as we said. We're going to cut the bog oak. I'm going to have those two cut, and these tubes inside the pen, I'll show you what that looks like. Now that we have the timber cut, so we've cut the bog oak, we've inserted the tubes into the bog oak, we've squared off the ends so that everything is nice and square. That's our spalted, that's our Irish whiskey oak, and again tubes are in that. So everything is nice and squared off. And what we do then is we bring these over, and I'll see that just to let you know there, see where we've lined them all up, so that we make sure again that the grain runs the length of the pen. Otherwise you're going to get completely confused and when the pen is finished the grain just won't look right. So when we have that done, we'll bring them onto our lathe. This is our Record Power lathe. I'll mount them onto the mandrel, and we'll start turning them and get them into shape. Right, just a quick one showing you how we turn the bog oak pen. So everything is mounted so that the grain runs, as we said, always by keeping the grain in alignment. And here we go. I'm going to turn on the extraction. I won't put on the fan because otherwise you'd never hear a thing. So basically just increase the speed. I like to turn at a very high speed if you can. And then we introduce the tool. And then we just start slowly but surely just paring the wood away very slowly. The more accurate we are with the turning, the less time we have to spend sanding. Now, I'm not going to bring you through all of this, but I'll stop the video here and I'll turn these two pieces and start again. Now I have the barrels turned roughly down to size. I will apply oils now, and the oils and sanding, and we'll sand it and we'll show you basically what it looks like when it's been oiled and sanded. You can see the grain showing in the wood. This is what we want to try and keep. We don't want to lose that grain, that feeling, the texture. So it's about sanding but not taking away too much texture. But anyway, let's have a go. We'll see how we get on. So now that we have the pens turned, so we have them into the shape that we want, we polish the inside of the tubes. I know nobody will see them, but I know that they're. I want them to be clean on the inside. So we polish the inside of the tubes, and then we start assembling the pens using the required components. As I said, this pen here is going to be the Celtic pen, and this pen here is going to be our Woodland, both fountain pens. So we'll pull these together, and I'll show you what they look like when they are completed. Now, folks, we have got these two pens made, so we've turned those pen tubes into the two pens. This one here is the Celtic knot fountain pen in antique brass, and the wood, of course, is Irish bog oak. And the other pen is our Woodland fountain pen in Irish whiskey oak. And if you can see there, see the lines that are going up along the length of the pen. That's why it's so important that we mark the pens and keep the alignment correct, so that when the pens are assembled, the grain runs from the bottom. As you can see, as you can see there, the grain runs from the bottom of the pen through to the cap of the pen. Just makes the pen look really nice. Nice high shine on the Irish whiskey oak. The bog oak, we don't put a high shine on bog oak because we use a couple of oils that we get from a local, well, not a local, a chap in Dublin who's a bog oak sculptor, and he gives us the oils, so we get a kind of a nice flat finish on the bog oak. It's really, I suppose, about the look and the feel of the bog oak, because it is, after all, older than the pyramids, so it's a beautiful wood. So that's the pen. I'm going to take the top off now, try and do this with my one-handed. So the actual cap on this particular fountain pen is magnetic, so you want to post the cap onto the pen. It just clicks on like that. So that's your pen with the cap off. Then again, undo the cap, and then from this end here, if you want to, you just basically, it just snaps back into place when it goes in like that. There you go. Nice and neat. Lovely pen. Now, the Woodland pen, it's made of rhodium and titanium. The centre band is gold titanium, and the rest of the shiny surface is a rhodium. That cap on this particular pen screws off, it's like so. Again, one-handed. And you have then your fountain pen with a German-made nib used on both pens, and nice, slim, simple design. The treads are also rhodium treads on the barrel of the pen, so the pen can be capped and stops your ink from drying out. So that's the 2 pens that we've made. So the next thing I'll do is I'll put them into a box that we were asked to make. We make a particular box, an oak box for the higher grade pens. So I'll put those in and show you that picture now in a few minutes. So anyway, that's our Celtic Knot fountain pen and our Woodlands Irish Whiskey Oak fountain pen. Hope you like them. Right, so the last step of our journey, we now have the 2 pens in our solid oak pen box. So this pen box is made of Irish oak, and we basically cut the pen box. We put the pens inside. They sit on a little timber plinth, and the base of the box is in a green baize. You have the lid of the box. You can, if you want to, put an engraving on the inside, but basically we were asked to put a name on the outside. So this is what we've done. So now you have a name on the outside of the box, and inside the box are held the 2 pens. You can also do the box with a put a name inside that if you wanted to. You can engrave something inside. That's just a different box for a different client. But as you can see, it looks well, and we have our logo on the top of the box if you wish, or you can put, as we did in that box, put a name on the top of the box. Totally your decision what you want to do. So that's the pen box and the 2 pens. I know a lot of thought went into deciding which pens to use for this particular gift. A lot of thought went into the wood that we use for this gift. So we just hope our client is very, very happy. We'll pack it all up now. We have cards that we put in which talk about the actual bog oak in this case, and basically who gives description of the bog oak. We also have a card that we can put in that talks about the Irish whiskey oak. And that goes in with the pen as well, because your wooden pen is obviously Irish whiskey oak, and it gives a description of that. And we also put a card in which talks about then who made the pen. In this case, it was myself. So that's basically the final wrapping, and I'll just take a picture of the box before we wrap it up for posting, and that'll finish off this video. So thanks for looking at what we did. Any questions, any queries, as always, pick up the phone, give us a call, send us an email. We love to chat with our clients. That's the fun part for us. So again, thank you for watching.